I would start with the peace greeting, but it's probably not going to be appropriate. Listen to this BS. Hold on.
So bad. I hate the fact that we don't know niggas. I'm tired. I'm ready to put my brain in my pocket and leave my money at home. I don't want to touch doors. I don't want to argue. If anybody's going to be crying, giving silent treatments and attitude, I want it to be me. I'm just ready to be a girl again.
My brothers, let me tell you.
Shout out to Destro Reborn. That was a Freudian slip. But no, shout out to you for real. This was played on his video. And that clip that you heard starts at 6 minutes and 56 seconds in. I'm tired of being the new N-word. And then right before she tells you she just wants to go back to being a girl again, she tells you how she defines being a girl. Putting her brain in her purse, leaving her wallet at home, crying, giving attitude, and giving the silent treatment. That is how she defines it, by its difficulty for us. She's a sister. You probably couldn't see it, but you could hear it. Some of you saw the video. Many of you saw the video. More of you saw that video than those who are going to see and hear this. But yeah, that's what we're facing, gentlemen. I've been telling you that it's hatred for a reason. I sit up and I talk all militant and tell you that that we're dealing with an enemy for a reason, a set of reasons. And every so often they come along and they confess. And here you go. They confess when they realize it, and they confess when they don't. Now, some people would sit up and say that, throughout history they've been the same. And, well, it's hard to know. But what I am sure of is that never before in history have they demanded so much, insisted on giving so little, all of it being negative, and then recorded themselves and been recorded by others with such an attitude. I'm sure there's some civilization where they acted this way, and it didn't last long. Because if this is what you have to look forward to as a guy, in exchange for all your efforts and the hard work you have to do anyway, what man's going to sit up and invest in this? They're going to walk off from it. And one of the things I like about the world becoming smaller is that, see, you heard me say yesterday that cultures in general tend to be crap. They're shit. Mine, yours, the people amongst whom I live, because we're human. You've heard me say this before. Well, guess what? Sorry for the background noise. This is one straw that breaks the camel's back, and it causes men to walk the ukfoff and abandon these cultures to just wither away in the wind. And the thing is that once these broads realize that this society with its artificial freedom is going to go away, they have no choice but to kidnap if they're going to keep it going. And well, that's becoming more and more difficult by the day. And so while we men have never been under some illusion that we can have societies without women, women have, in mythology and reality, deluded themselves into thinking that they can do without men. But what you are facing here is a hatred that at the least is at the subconscious level. It's either low boiling contempt or it's hatred. And I would say that the low boiling contempt is really nothing more than just subconscious hatred. She defined her gender as being non-contributory, demanding, unfair, childish, capable, but voluntarily incompetent, even sabotaging, and attitudinal without provocation. That is how she defined her gender. Now the shoe is on the other foot, and the women are going to have to pursue men to vex, pursue men to give problems, because that's what the hell they've been. They sat back in many cultures, actually, and waited to be pursued so that they could give problems to men, so that they could demand and vex and tax and stretch thin the men who pursued them. What I'm coming to understand recently is that you men are going to have to even get in touch with our brothers from very traditional communities and spread a particular idea. And that is, if these women are not going to give in exchange for what they demand, they are not worth approaching, even if they're traditional. Saudi men and women actually don't like each other that much. You know why they get married? I began to realize they get married still because their families arrange it. If not, they would leave each other be. They wouldn't argue with each other in the streets, but on social media, they have something similar going on. Big old land whale sitting up and demanding that a man be wealthy and muscled out and tall, while she's a short, squat, fat land whale. Yeah, they exist out here. Not as many, but they exist out here. They wouldn't dare act as entitled, but they do exist out here. But I didn't know that on social media they were acting the same way that the sisters in the States were acting until a former student of mine told me this. They're just tired. They're sick and tired of each other. The men say you got to pay all this expensive dowry. There's starfish in the bed, and then they want to take your money and go on shopping sprees just so you never save up to marry another wife because they can't stand the competition they know their asses deserve. And the women saying, probably rightly so, these men are not romantic, even in the way that they approach consummating the marriage. It's just quickies. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I wouldn't tell men to not be romantic, but when it comes to them drawers, yeah, why the hell wouldn't they just make it a quickie? All that other stuff is for y'all. When we got to pay these expensive dowries, I mean, the men, I don't. But these men got to pay expensive dowries, meet your dad's approval, your brother's approval, and their scrutiny just to have to sit up here and give you these 20 minutes of foreplay you need. Well, when you're in college and high school and y'all are having these relationships with each other, y'all don't put each other through that. Yeah, the female teachers here that are foreign talk about this. But then you get a man, and all of a sudden, the foreplay, which is of no benefit to him, you want him to sit up and spend 30 minutes on. After he's already in debt for decades to pay back a bank for the loan he had to take to pay your damn dowry you'll never have to pay back. Should they be romantic? Well, yeah, they should give you a chance to be romantic back. Yeah, absolutely. But all this other stuff but then again, they're not allowed to pick at all. They have to agree to the marriage like the woman does. But, their parents come along and say, hey, listen, you're marrying her. And a lot of times they'll ask the woman and the man, do they agree? But you know what? You're still spoiled. And that is problematic. You're spoiled as hell. And they know this. And this is something going on where you are. They're spoiled. The difference is that, see, over here, I should say, let me start with over here. Over here, they've been spoiled by the dads and their brothers. Their moms don't spoil them. And that is problematic. Not because their dads and their brothers love them and protect them, but because they spoil them. That's an issue. That's problematic. By the same token, the guys get spoiled by their moms and their sisters at home. There's still some give and take, which is probably why they don't quite have the same family degeneration that we've got. Another thing, too, is that single moms here understand that they ain't going to sit up here and be able to just pin their babies on another man. They don't have the freedom to practice the dual mating strategy. Over there, where you are, the woman is spoiled by other women, by men she's not related to, men she doesn't know, society. Did I mention other women? Churches. TV shows. Meanwhile, the men don't have anyone spoiling us. And if we are spoiled at any point in life, we are quickly going to be deemed worthless by women for being spoiled. And we're taught to view spoiled women as being great and a challenge and what she's supposed to be. To the point that now, when you have wised up and you stop making as many approaches, these broads now realize and understand, you know what, this is not going to work. I'm just going to have to make approaches, or I'm never going to have anybody. And they're complaining about it and talking about how they want to go back to the old arrangement. There was another lady on that same video talking about how back in the old days, men had to give all they had to court one woman, and she had a bunch of men trying to court her. And if he just missed out, he just missed out. There was no going on to the next broad. That wasn't true. And if it was ucked up. And it's a good thing that we got away from that. But we didn't get away from it enough. It's funny how women will sit up here and tell you to be a man in every way that's not convenient to yourself. When she wants you to initiate a little bump and grind, you need to be a man. But you're a creep if she doesn't want you to do that. It's crazy how they can bring themselves to tell you any and every detail about any and everything except for when they like you or they want you. And then all of a sudden they clam up. Now, that's one thing they can't express. If you're going to be shy and reserved, be shy and reserved. Don't turn around and all of a sudden be outspoken because you have a complaint. But that's exactly what you have to face. Their notions about everything are always as bad as and as inconvenient for you as they could possibly be. They will rewrite history to try to give you some false precedence. To tell you that you should give and not take. Well, I don't know what more proof some of us are going to need to understand that this is hatred. Now, it's one thing to say that they're not aware of the hatred. It's subconscious on their part. But it's completely different to say that that hatred is not there. No, it's there. Because at some point, the ones who lie know they're lying. They know they're not telling the truth. They know this. And they're lying to you, not only for their gain, but also specifically for your loss. And you're sitting up trying to understand why and how and should you be patient, and they're sitting up and looking at you and saying, yeah, you know what you need to do is keep trying and never quit trying and chase me down, and that's it. Never stop chasing me down. Spend everything trying to court me. I don't got to sleep with none of you. And the ones I don't pick, well, they're just out of whatever they spent trying to court me. And I should put my brain in my pocket, leave my wallet at home, not touch a door, cry, argue, give attitude, and the silent treatment. They're still not understanding that the very attitude they've been told to have towards us is the damn problem. It's not sinking in. Now, for some of them, it is sinking in that having a nasty, filthy, stank, funky attitude, it's not going to work. But what they don't understand is that the right way to get at us is the opposite. It's actually the way they want to be loved and treasured. That's you give what you want to get. They still haven't figured that out. They're always trying, what it comes down to is that they're always trying to take what they will not give and take that for which they will give nothing else in exchange either, and take more. It always comes down to that. What is it that you orbit around, but you can never actually crash into? And that is fairness and justice. They don't believe in a fair exchange, and that means they're enemies. Attorney Dennis Sperling, in his video about the Mexican guy that said they don't need black people's help, said that there might be a time when we just have to stop aiming as a black manosphere at these boom shikas and bonquishas. My answer is screw that. We can mock people getting picked up by INS and sent out at the same time that we mock these boom shikas and bonquishas and the rest of the hyena clan. See, oftentimes what it really comes down to is we might be looking with pride at the same thing for two different reasons, or looking with a sense of relief at the same thing for two different reasons. We're looking at a bunch of non-white, wannabe white supremacists who clearly sided with our oppressors and their own oppressors over us, who never oppressed them, who were brought in to replace us, and who, when they realized that that's what they were brought in to do, gladly accepted the assignment. And we're saying good riddance to bad rubbish. Sisters are looking and they're saying, well, okay, what's going to happen is that now it's pretty much what's going to happen now is that these men are going to be left with no option other than us and Becky. And we already know Becky, we know what she's going to do in the long run. We just do it up front. Now, what they don't understand is that the women that are in the States for long enough, legally or illegally, pick up their attitudes towards their own men, and then they start to be this way towards their own men. Many women are harshest towards the men of their own race or their own culture. Many are. That's standard across the board, really. The white woman uses the black man to cuck the white man. She's harder on the white dude than she is on the brother. The sister verbally belittles us and tells us what Master's grandson has that we don't, no matter how he got it. So, in a nutshell, they don't even understand that those that are in the States don't become competition for them, really. At least they don't remain competition for long. They don't really understand that. They're really looking and they're just saying, well, I don't like them because they're lighter and their hair is straighter. That's not what this is about. No, that's why a lot of sisters are celebrating this. Somebody not liking black men and somebody not liking black women are two different things because they've made it clear that we're two different groups of people. That's the end of that. So no, I'm not going to look and say that now it's time for us to hold hands with the sister because she's only joyful about them being picked up really because she didn't want us to even understand that they come from a different culture and start looking at these other nations. Also, sisters want our people to be seen as celebrating the deportation of others so that we would now become unwelcome in other places, even if we previously went there legally. That's what they're looking at. We're celebrating the deportation of racists. She's celebrating the deportation of races. But she wants us to join her in celebrating the deportation of people because they ain't us, when in reality, we black men are just looking like, well, it's because you wanted to replace us and you look down on us and you would have been willing to help anybody against us. She wants us to sit up here and become the face of celebrations of deportations so that we would become unwelcome in Brazil and in Colombia. And we would become unwelcome in Honduras and El Salvador. So that we would become unwelcome in the Philippines and in Thailand. Is that what you want? That's not what I want for you. I know you don't deserve that. I was informed by a source of mine that Nigerians were considering denying African American women by themselves visas to go into Nigeria. Not families, that's fine. Not couples, that's fine. But just African American women by themselves asking for visas to go to Nigeria would be denied. Why? Because they don't want them going over there to export that feminism. It's already there. Shit. Black America, Jamaica, and Nigeria have high rates of paternity fraud, and we got some of the most aggressive women on the damn planet. Even in comparison to other black people. Oh, and they proud of that shit too. Y'all women are proud of being bruckoed. Yeah. Southern Nigerian women are proud of cheating on their husbands and paternity fraud and using the men for the money and sounding like it too. Remember how I used to say that? Well, y'all saw the balloon pop the show when that woman got up there and they said, "What's your name?" "My name is Uche." And all the dudes popped their balloon. It's just that right there. Just you sound like a man. We are done with this. And now you don't have to, I don't have to tell you about the 80 sister, so to speak, or the FBA sister. That's what the black manosphere has been talking about. But we don't understand that this is actually some of this aggression and anti-black misandry is based on a triangle. It's not limited to it, but it's based on it. It's where it extends from. Some of us fail to realize that, hell, you got black feminists in Brazil. Remember, it was one of them that tried to get the government on Austin Holloman. A black American simp alerted a black Brazilian feminist living in the States with her zaddy, and she called local authorities and all her feminist allies to go in on Austin because he wasn't suffering enough. She felt like the Brazilian women weren't giving him enough shit. It's hatred. Don't lose sight of that. We don't have allies in the hyenas. The sisters that are actually our allies, our sisters, and not just sisters to each other, are the ones that the other black women call pick-me's and pick-meshas and pick-me-B words. Those are your allies. Before Trump, during Trump, and after Trump, those will be your allies. And you won't always know which ones are sincere right off the bat. It's going to take some time to know. It ain't just some unknown sister that's now going viral because she's got a video up talking about, yeah, y'all getting deported now. We told y'all not to vote for so-and-so. He voted. and you voted for this. Because even when they say that, the fact remains that the Latin Americans that voted for Trump were citizens. That's how they could register to vote. They're not the ones being deported. They don't care about the ones who are being deported. That's what people keep losing sight of. The U.S. already deported American citizens that were also Mexican citizens. They did it in the 1910s, I think. And they were proud of themselves for doing it. They locked up American citizens in internment camps for being also Japanese. They didn't do it to the Germans. German Americans were given a pass. White supremacy is still the name of the game. It's still America's religion. The difference is that we're sitting up here looking at these folks getting nabbed up, and we're saying, yeah, it's because you bought into white supremacy that we don't really give a rat's ass. Bye. She's sitting up thinking, okay, finally, there's less competition to show others just how masculine and broke out and materialistic and mean and misandrous we really are, because we done already got to Becky. She got to us, we got to her. We may not like each other, but we're trading notes. Becky's cucking her man. And we up here just emasculating our men. She's using our men to emasculate their man. But nonetheless, that's what's going on. Ain't gonna be no what they're thinking is ain't gonna be no new people coming into the country, especially women from traditional lands, that are gonna show these men just how jacked up we are. That's what they're thinking. Remember, they feel like they own us. They just don't like the fact that other women can flip their hair. That's what that's about. And even when they can't, there's certain things they're going to look at American and even Jamaican sisters and say, we ain't imitating that from you, even if we are the same race. Nope, nope, nope. No, it's hatred, gentlemen. Don't get it twisted. Not at all. I guess the best way I could describe it is that Western white women feel like they own men's resources, and Western black women feel like they own black men and our resources. Maybe that's the best way I could describe it. But that's how they feel. And so neither one of them really has a less than hateful attitude towards their own men. They just don't. And I don't want you guys getting caught up in this foolishness and this naivety. As entertaining as I find Attorney Sperling to be at times, and as wise as I found him to be at other times, that's not something I can sit up and say is really going to be true. Sisters that were misandrous before are going to be such again. You think Cynthia G has the same reason as us if she decided to start celebrating these mass deportations? No. Did you realize that a lot of the untrue levels of blackanoia that we get don't come from the men? Oh, yeah. Sisters will sit up here and make friends with and befriend women of other background if they feel like it, if they can tolerate them. Other backgrounds, yeah. If they can stand them. If they can stand the comparison contrast. They're sitting up looking at you like you're the traitor if you just have friends or buddies from other backgrounds. That's them doing that. Hope that what I've said is a benefit. Thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day. Thank you for flying with us here at Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.